Welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most famous and highly collected coins in American history, the 1944 1-cent wheat penny with no mint mark. This coin comes from the Philadelphia Mint and is one of the most widely recognized Lincoln wheat cents ever made. But what makes the 1944 no mint mark penny so special? How much is it worth today? What rare errors should you look for? And what key details can turn a simple copper penny into a high-value treasure? Stay with me as we explore everything collectors love about the 1944 wheat penny. The year 1944 is incredibly important in U.S. coin history because it followed the unusual 1943 steel penny experiment. In 1943, pennies were made from steel to save copper for World War II, but in 1944 the mint returned to copper. However, instead of using fresh copper, the mint used recycled metal from wartime shell casings. That means your 1944 wheat penny actually contains a fascinating piece of World War II history. These pennies were produced using a bronze alloy made from reused materials, giving them a unique tone that collectors instantly recognize. This backstory alone makes the 1944 penny one of the most collected Lincoln cents ever minted. The no-mint mark version of the 1944 wheat penny is struck in Philadelphia, and Philadelphia made the largest number, over 1 billion coins. Because of this huge mintage, most 1944 pennies are common in circulated condition. You can find many worn examples worth only a few cents, but the real value begins when the coin is in higher grades. In extremely fine or about uncirculated condition, the 1944 penny becomes more desirable to collectors who want sharp details, clean wheat stalks, and a strong portrait of Lincoln. The biggest jump in value happens in uncirculated, mint-state conditions. A bright red 1944 penny with full luster and no dark spots can sell for far higher amounts than most people expect. Certain examples graded MS65, MS66, and especially MS67 red have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars in auctions. The key is color. Red coins are the most valuable, followed by red-brown, and then brown. Collectors look for even surfaces, minimal marks, and strong strike quality. A perfect glossy red coin with clean fields instantly stands out and becomes investment grade. Even more exciting are the rare errors from this year. One of the most famous 1944 errors is the 1944 steel penny, an accidental leftover planchet from 1943. A genuine 1944 steel penny is extremely rare and worth tens of thousands of dollars. But even among the copper pennies, there are collectible errors. Look for off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, repunched mint marks, which technically don't apply to Philadelphia coins but similar doubling varieties can occur, and especially doubled die obverse or reverse errors. Any strong doubling on "In God We Trust, Liberty," or the date can dramatically increase the value of your 1944 penny. Another important tip for identifying uncommon pieces is to carefully inspect the wheat ears on the reverse. Sharp lines inside the wheat stalks usually indicate a higher grade strike, and coins with crisp detail tend to command premium prices. Meanwhile, scratches, corrosion, pitting, or cleaning marks lower the value significantly. If your penny looks unusually bright or unnatural, it may have been cleaned, which reduces collector demand. Original surface and natural toning are always better. Collectors also enjoy searching rolls, checking pocket change, and examining old family collections for 1944 pennies. Because these pennies were minted in huge numbers during the war years, many were saved in jars and boxes, which means people still discover high-grade coins today. A single untouched wheat penny from someone's collection can be worth much more than expected if it has remained preserved over the decades. If you have a 1944 wheat penny with no mint mark, the best way to evaluate its worth is to compare the coin's color, condition, strike quality, and any possible error features. Coins with bright red luster, minimal contact marks, and strong details around Lincoln's face and the wheat stalks have the highest chance of reaching strong collector value. Always store wheat pennies in a safe coin holder to prevent damage, since every tiny scratch can lower the value. The 1944 no-mint mark penny remains a favorite for both beginners and advanced collectors. It's a piece of wartime American history, an easy coin to find, but also a type with rare varieties and potential high-value grades. Whether you're holding a circulated example or a brilliant uncirculated gem, the 1944 wheat penny is a classic Lincoln cent that continues to attract coin enthusiasts around the world. Its story, its metal composition, its connection to World War II, and its potential value all make it a fascinating collectible worth knowing about. The 1945 1-cent wheat penny with no mint mark. Collectors everywhere want to know its value, its history, rare errors, and how to identify the most valuable versions hiding in pocket change or old coin rolls. So let's dive deep into everything you need to know about the 1945 penny, why it matters, and what makes certain examples worth far more than just 1 cent. The 1945 wheat penny was minted in Philadelphia, and that's why this version has no mint mark. After World War II, the U.S. Mint produced these coins using the standard bronze composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Because copper was precious during the war, many people saved these pennies, and today the 1945 penny remains one of the most widely collected wheat cents. But even with high production numbers, some examples can become quite valuable depending on their condition and any rare mint errors. Most circulated 1945 no-mint mark pennies are common, but condition changes everything. A heavily worn example is usually worth just a few cents. But when you find one in extremely fine condition, uncirculated condition, or especially high-grade mint state condition, the value increases strongly. Collectors love coins with sharp details, clean surfaces, and strong luster. So if you have a shiny 1945 penny that looks untouched, it could be worth a lot more than you expect. High-grade examples certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC can sell for surprising prices, especially at MS65, MS66, and MS67 levels. One of the biggest reasons collectors search for the 1945 no-mint mark penny is for valuable errors. Some rare errors include off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, repunched mint marks. Even though this penny has no mint mark, sometimes die varieties show doubling or unusual markings on the date or lettering. But the most valuable variety is the 1945 doubled die, where parts of the lettering or date appear slightly doubled. Even subtle doubling can push the value much higher. Some dramatic errors can sell for $100, $200, even over $500 depending on severity and grade. Another important factor is original mint luster. When a 1945 penny still has that bright, copper-red shine, collectors classify it as red, abbreviated RD. Coins that tone darker are labeled red-brown or brown, with red coins always bringing the highest prices. A 1945 penny graded MS67 red is incredibly rare and highly prized, often reaching hundreds of dollars at auctions. Lower grades like MS65 or MS66 red are still very collectible, and can sell anywhere from $20 to over $100 depending on market demand. The history behind the coin also makes it special. The wheat penny series ran from 1909 to 1958, featuring the famous design by Victor David Brenner. The reverse carries the two wheat stalks symbolizing prosperity and growth in America, while the obverse features Abraham Lincoln. For many collectors, these wartime and post-war wheat pennies represent an important snapshot of American history. Millions of soldiers were returning home, factories were shifting from military production back to civilian goods, and the economy was rebuilding. The 1945 penny is a small piece of that era, connecting collectors to a time of major transformation. If you're trying to identify a valuable example, start with the basics. Look closely at the date, lettering, and overall surface quality. Check for signs of doubling, cracks, or misaligned strikes. Then examine the color. Is the coin bright red, slightly reddish-brown, or fully brown? Next, check the details in Lincoln's hair, the coat lines, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Sharper details mean higher grade, and higher grade means better value. Even small differences in sharpness can move a coin from a few cents to several dollars. If your coin looks extremely clean, consider getting it graded. You might be surprised how often rare coins come from everyday circulation, old jars, inherited collections, or random coin rolls. People often overlook wheat pennies, but some are worth much more than expected. The 1945 no-mint mark penny is one of the easiest coins to find, but also one of the most rewarding when you find a high-grade or rare example. Collectors around the world actively search for these coins, making them an excellent starting point for beginners and a nostalgic favorite for experienced numismatists. So if you have a 1945 wheat penny, take your time analyzing it. A simple 1-cent coin from 80 years ago might actually be worth far more. Whether it's an error, a high-grade uncirculated coin, or an eye-catching red example, these pennies continue to hold strong collector demand. Keep checking your change, keep searching your coin rolls, and keep learning about these amazing pieces of history. The 1951 1-cent wheat penny with the S mint mark, one of the most interesting post-war Lincoln cents that collectors search for every day. If you want to know its real value, the rare errors to look for, and how to identify the most valuable high-grade examples, then stay tuned because this coin has a lot more history and hidden potential than most people realize. The 1951 S wheat penny was minted at the San Francisco Mint, and that small S mint mark beneath the date is what makes this version stand out. This coin was struck in a bronze alloy made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, continuing the traditional composition seen throughout most of the wheat penny series. Even though millions were made, the 1951 S penny is still heavily collected, especially in sharp, uncirculated condition. Because copper coins tend to age, darken, and wear down easily, finding an original bright and lustrous example can be much harder than expected. Now let's talk about value, because that's what most collectors want to know first. A worn, circulated 1951 S penny is usually worth just a few cents, but value changes drastically depending on the coin's grade, color, and condition. Coins that retain their original mint luster are classified as red, and these are the most valuable. Red-brown examples fall in the middle, while brown examples are usually the least valuable. But the real money comes when a 1951 S penny reaches mint state condition. An MS-65, MS-66, or especially MS-67 red example can sell for impressive prices at auctions and online markets. Some of the highest grade red coins have sold for well over $100, simply because such well-preserved examples are rare today. Collectors also search for errors and varieties that can boost the price significantly. The 1951 S wheat penny is known for several error types including off-center strikes, clipped planchets, die cracks, die chips, and filled die strikes where some lettering looks weak or partially missing. Another thing to watch for is repunched mint marks. Some 1951 S pennies show the mint mark punched more than once, leaving slight doubling or shadowing around the S. These repunched mint mark varieties can be worth more, especially when combined with a high-grade surface and strong eye appeal. Even small imperfections from the mint can turn an ordinary penny into an exciting find. The history behind the coin makes it even more interesting. The early 1950s were a time of rapid economic growth in the United States. The country had shifted from wartime production to a booming consumer economy, and coins like the 1951 S wheat penny were part of the daily money that fueled this growth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the wheat penny features the classic portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front and 2 wheat stalks on the back, symbolizing strength, prosperity, and America's agricultural roots. By 1951, the wheat design was in its final years, making coins from this decade especially meaningful for collectors who appreciate the end of an iconic era. If you want to know whether your 1951 S penny is valuable, there are a few key things to check. First, look at the coin's overall sharpness. The better the details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat, the higher the grade. Then check the wheat stalks on the reverse. If the lines inside the wheat ears are crisp and unworn, that's a great sign. Next, examine the coin's color and luster. A bright red shine means the coin has been very well preserved. Also inspect the S mint mark carefully for signs of doubling or unusual shapes. These tiny details can make a huge difference in value. Many people are surprised to learn that valuable wheat pennies still appear in pocket change, old coin jars, inherited collections, and even random coin rolls. A 1951 South penny might seem common at first glance, but high-grade versions and rare errors continue to be in demand among collectors. That means you should never overlook these coins. Every wheat penny deserves a closer inspection, because you never know when you might have a valuable variety in your hands. Whether you are a beginner in coin collecting or someone with years of experience, the 1951 wheat penny is an excellent coin to study and search for. It has history, it has collector demand, and it offers real value potential when found in top condition. So keep hunting, keep checking the details, and always look twice at your wheat pennies. This small 1-cent coin from more than 70 years ago could be worth far more than you expect. The 1953 1-cent wheat penny with the D mint mark, one of the most searched Lincoln wheat cents from the early 1950s. Collectors everywhere want to know the true value of this coin, the rare errors that can make it worth big money, and how to identify high-grade examples that stand out from the rest. So let's break down everything you need to know about the 1953 D wheat penny and what makes it such an exciting piece for beginners and experienced coin collectors. The 1953 D penny was minted at the Denver Mint, and you can identify it by the small D mint mark under the date. This coin was struck in the classic bronze alloy of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Because copper coins age quickly, most 1953 D pennies found today show wear or dark brown toning. That's why high-grade, bright red examples are so valuable and highly sought after. Even though over 700 million of these coins were minted, only a small percentage remain in pristine, uncirculated condition. When it comes to value, condition is everything. A circulated 1953 D penny might only be worth a few cents, but as soon as you move into mint state condition, the price can increase dramatically. Collectors use the color scale, red, red-brown, and brown, to judge how much original mint luster is left. Red coins are the most valuable because they show that brilliant copper shines straight from the mint. A 1953 D penny graded MS65 or MS66 red can be worth a strong premium, and rare MS67 red examples have sold for impressive prices because they are so hard to find. These super high-grade coins require nearly perfect surfaces, sharp strikes, and outstanding color. But it's not just condition that drives value. Error varieties from the 1953 D penny can also bring high collector interest. Some of the most notable errors include off-center strikes, die cracks, die chips, lamination errors, and clipped planchets. Collectors also look for repunched mint marks, where the D was punched more than once, leaving a doubled or shadowed appearance around the mint mark. These RPM varieties can be worth much more, especially when they appear on coins in high grades with strong eye appeal. A dramatic repunched mint mark, or a bold die crack can transform a common penny into a valuable collectible. The historical background of the 1953 D penny adds even more depth to its story. America in the early 1950s was growing rapidly after World War II, and coins like this wheat penny were part of everyday business, savings, wages, and commerce. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln portrait on the obverse represents one of the most iconic designs in U.S. coin history. The two wheat ears on the reverse symbolize prosperity and agricultural strength, a design that lasted from 1909 to 1958. That makes every wheat penny, including the 1953 D, a connection to a period of American history that collectors truly appreciate. If you're trying to figure out whether your 1953 D wheat penny is valuable, start by looking at the sharpness of Lincoln's hair, beard, cheek, and coat. High-grade coins show crisp details and minimal marks. Then check the wheat stalks on the reverse. If the lines inside the wheat ears are well-defined, the coin might be mint state. Next, look at the color. A bright red copper shine is a strong sign of value. Finally, examine the D mint mark closely with a magnifying glass to check for doubling, distortions, or unusual shapes that could indicate a valuable error variety. Even today, valuable wheat pennies continue to show up in coin rolls, old jars, inherited collections, and estate boxes. That's why collectors never ignore wheat pennies from the 1950s. A 1953 penny may look common at first glance, but with the right condition, the right color, or the right mint error, it can be worth far more than 1 cent. Many collectors started their hobby by finding wheat pennies like this one, and the thrill of discovering a rare example is what keeps the hobby exciting. Whether you're a new collector or someone who has been searching for years, the 1953 wheat penny has everything a collector loves: history, beautiful design, high-grade potential, and valuable mint errors. So keep checking your coin rolls, keep inspecting every wheat penny without even knowing it.